Hi Laura, welcome to video feedback. I'm afraid I'm a little bit wobbly. I need to get some kind of stand for my camera and then it will work better. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through your piece in terms of what I think of it as I go along. I think your opening really clearly states how you feel about the poem, which is exactly what I wanted from your response. Yeah, I would suggest towards the end, you've said that you think about life from a new angle and you think about humanity in a different way. I think it's really important in your introduction to state how exactly you feel. So I think it would be important to expand upon this point. So what's the new angle? What's the different way? What have you gone from thinking and what do you now think as a result? So I think that's important. Some of your vocabulary here could be a little bit more academic, but I do know that I'd ask for a personal response, so perhaps not as appropriate for this piece. Think about writing more academically in future. One spelling relevant, so it's an ANT rather than an ENT, so just watch out for that because that might be a word that you do want to use when talking about poetry. Okay, I like that you've picked out a quote there. Obviously in most pieces we're going to have to integrate it, but I guess this time around I'm not so fussed about you doing that, but yeah, try and integrate things or at least introduce it. Chances are you will have to do things like this so that you're embedding a quote, but it will be slightly longer than ones we're used to using. So obviously the ones we're used to using are one word or a couple of words that we integrate into our own sentence. Here you'd have to introduce it. Okay, so it could have been that in your introduction you stated what that new angle was and then put a colon and then introduced the new quote that would support that kind of new point of view. Okay, so let me just have a little read. Okay, I really like this. It's really, really detailed. You're really evaluating how it's changed your point of view. So really all you needed to do in the intro was reference that and then explore it here. I think things like this, the I think here, could be removed. You need to write with a little bit more conviction. So state how you feel and don't be afraid of saying it. I think that's fantastic. There are synonyms needed in some places. For example, you're using individual quite a lot. So I think anywhere, that's maybe something key to do when you're checking through your work. Because we're in the process of expanding your vocabulary, writing more academically, you do need to check, have I used a word more than once, look for an alternative, and you'll gradually start to expand your vocabulary. So it's putting in the time in after you've written something to just double check through it and see if there's anything else you could change. Obviously, some of this is written in quite an informal way. I realise it's the kind of response it was. Try to avoid asking questions, but a lot of those things that you're saying are really important because they really get hold of the themes and messages for the poem. So just look at changing those around so that they're statements rather than questions. Okay, so it's broadened my... Okay. Brilliant. So, yeah, the poem achieved what I hoped it would, which is fantastic. We're going to be looking more about poetry layout and different kinds of delivery, although a lot of the poems that we're told to study are very traditional, but however they do have very different layouts and structures and that kind of thing, so that's important. So proofreading and fluency is good, definitely. However, I did not use much terminology. Yes. Perfect. So you did explore the poem, less analysis and less terminology included. So in future, make sure they're central, just so I can check for the next piece that you do that your terminology is quite secure, because we're going to be layering on new terms soon, so you need to be really comfortable with the ones we already know. Okay. Well done, Laura. I really enjoyed reading it, and I like that maybe the poem has affected you quite a lot. yeah, it definitely achieved a lot of what I wanted it to. So key things to work on are your vocabulary, writing in a more academic way, and just making sure that analysis is central, okay? But yeah, really well done. I really enjoyed reading it. Thank you.